Good evening to one and all, and welcome to this book launch of Brother Ian, who is going to be launching his book on yoga. And it's an honor to have all of you here present for this auspicious moment when we'll be launching his book. And very soon you will come to know about the whereabouts of this book from the author himself. But before we go to him, there are a lot of people on the way whom we need to give attention to. To begin with, we have with us Mrs. Maria, who is a yoga practitioner, a yoga trainer, and a yoga expert, and has been into conducting yoga classes for the last 15 years. And she is a certified yoga teacher of the Government of India, Ayush. And there are many forms of yoga that she is expertise of, like rope yoga, bar yoga, wheel yoga, chair yoga, ashtang vinyasa, hatha yoga, and much more to her credit. I invite her to speak on this occasion and enlighten us to understand this concept of yoga in a better light. Over to you, ma'am.
Namaste, good evening everyone. Am I audible? Can you all hear me?
Yes. You're audible.
Okay, great. So first of all, thank you, Brother Yan Pinto and all those who are associated for considering us to be on this platform with you all. So I'm obliged. And without wasting any time, we would begin the practical aspect of yoga. So we have our colleague over here, Chaitra. She'll be demonstrating the asanas for us. And during the flow, then I'll be talking more about the path of yoga. So the first asana that we will begin with, of course, we will begin with Dandasan because that's the base pose, and then move over to Padmasan. So as you all already everybody must have, and it's a meditative asana, so it plays a very important role. A little bit that I would like to share here is, because we have been taking classes since many years and we have many students coming to us, it is very sad that we cannot manage to sit down, because we are only sitting on the sofa and the chair, and we have actually just restricted ourselves to sit down. So the base poses, which are very important, because they are the meditative poses, and from here you would go towards the further samadhi and towards dharana, dhyan, samadhi, moksha, are very important. So I would just say a word over here that please sit down on the floor and see that your gluteus muscles, your seat bones and your thighs muscles are prepared in such a way that you can do more of sitting asanas. It's very important. So we will go further in the flow. So from Padmasan to Parvatasana. Parvatasana is an excellent pose to release back pain, because it immediately charges your spine and it gives you the power in the spine and it lubricates the spine. So it really is it's an easy pose, a basic pose, but a very effective pose as far as your postural correction and your spinal alignment is concerned. So but just doing the pose correctly, you can easily release your lower back pain. Now from here we shift to Parshva Padmasana. So Parshva is a twisting asana. Twisting asanas are detox asanas. They flush the toxins out from your kidney band and from the organic band, because they have a contraction on one side, a squeezing action on one side, and when you return back from the twist once again to Parvatasana, the organs that were contracted and squeezed, there is immediately a fresh flow of oxygenated blood that flows back into that organic body, enhancing the health over there, in all those, increasing and enhancing the functioning of those organs. We will go on the other side, Parshva Padmasana, Parvatasana, release. We're showing you variations of Padmasan because as I told you, sitting asanas are very important. People are not able to do Padmasan nowadays because of a lot of stiffness and tightness. And see the variety that has been given, the permutations and combinations in the yogic practice, asanas are so vast that it's a very, very beautiful practice. In just one base pose, you can enact and perform so many different asanas. So now we are going to Padma Bhujangasana. So that's Padma Bhujangasana for you. Now from here, we will go for Gupta Padmasana. So this becomes a pronasana. So from sitting to twisting to back bending in Bhujangasana to completely lying down in a prone position with your hands in Paschimo Namaskarasana. Release. Now what is left is in a supine position. So we will go for Padma Matsyasana now. Padma Matsyasana. This is a beautiful pose that realigns all your chakras and it puts maximum pressure at the Sahasrara chakra, which is the crown chakra, that's the king chakra. And there is a total expansion of the chest and the thoracic area, so very good for your respiratory system. Release. Supta Padmasana. So this is an absolutely relaxing pose, Supta Padmasana. So if you noticed, we have almost covered up everything. Forward bend, back bend, twist. Now slowly come up. Parvatasana. And now to relax, Padmasan, Yoga Mudra. So this is a final pose of surrenderance, where you go down to surrender, thank the Almighty, thank the Lord within with all the reverence, gratitude, because gratitude plays a very important role where your yogic practice is concerned. Slowly release, relax, relax. Come to a standing position. We're going to do standing asanas now. So stand in Tadasana, that's your base pose. And then we'll go to Ekapada Vrukshasana, which is a hip opener. It's an excellent pose to release your lower back pain, knee pain. Of course, when students come to us and they have a lot of stiffness, tightness, we gradually take them into the poses with a lot of basic modifications first. You'll slowly go to Santulanasana. These three asanas that we are doing standing, Santulanasana, this one, the previous one, Ekapada Vrukshasana, and the next one, are amazing to increase your stability, your balance in the posture. And when you're balancing on one leg, your entire body weight, you're controlling it on one leg, that tremendously increases the bone density, which is very important. You'll go to Natarajasana and slowly release. Slowly release, relax. Come back to the center, Tadasana. Just hold on. So Maharishi Patanjali has given us this definition of an asana is Thiram Sukham Asana. So when you are going to perform the asana में स्थिरता होनी चाहिए, firmness, stability होनी चाहिए. And then when you are in that asana, you need to be happy, you need to be joyful. The asana has to become pleasurable for you. The asana should never become like a torture for you. So according to your capacity, you have to move ahead in your practice. Now, we are going for Parivritta Trikonasana. So this is a completely, it's a hip opener, it's a standing pose, it's a side bend, it's a twist. So many combinations are there in one asana itself. So imagine the multiple benefits that even one single pose, yoga pose gives you. So imagine the 84 classical asanas that we are given. They play a tremendous role. Inhale and come back to the center. Exhale, Trikonasana. So the standing asanas play a very important role because they will give you strength. They will give you the endurance, they will give you the power, they will give you stability, teach you stability, the attentiveness, the awareness in the pose, how to balance, and then drishti is very important because that's the point of concentration. Now you'll go to Parshva Konasana. So in the standing side bend, the side you go to, there is a contraction. The opposite side is completely extended out. So there's a beauty in every pose. There is a duality in every pose. But then it is a completely accomplished pose. Slowly release. Veerbhadrasana 2. So again, the Veerbhadrasana series are supposed to give you a lot of power. Because obviously the name itself tells you Veerbhadrasana, they are warrior poses. They were designed for warriors to give them that strength, volition to go and fight in the war. Veerbhadrasana 1. Veerbhadrasana 3. Parshvottanasana. And just okay. So as you all are watching, you can see that how many different variations, permutations, combinations we have in the asanas. Especially when this pose is excellent for completely de-stressing yourself, and yoga asanas to quite an extent can release you of your fatigue, of your pain, of your anxiety, fear and stress levels. And once the pandemic has started, we all know the real value of yoga because it works tremendously on your immunity levels, it works on your lymphatic system, nervous system, your hormonal system. So whatever problems come across from these systems, by your regular, sincere and dedicated practice, it would slowly start making you so aware that at the first stage, first level itself, you are immediately aware that something is going wrong within the body, and you can immediately do the correction by the application of the right kind of asanas and pranayama. Slowly release. Come back to the center. Relax. So the entire practice is very powerful practice, and now we will show you the power of the practice. So when you're going to regularly practice, you will be able to achieve even the advanced asanas. So Chaitra is going to demonstrate Shirshasana now. So the second sutra that Maharaji Patanjali has given for an asana is Prayatna Shaitilya Samapatti Bhav. That is, your effort in the performing the asana should become effortless, and you should become infinite with your own being. This is extremely important. Slowly come down. Relax. Setu Bandhasana. You may take a break and then just lie down. So as I was speaking about Prayatna Shaitilya, that asana, the perfection in the asana comes when you become absolutely effortless. It becomes effortless for you. And once it becomes effortless, you become one with the pose. So what happens is, now she is doing Setu Bandhasana, and she is doing it completely with a concentrated practice, and it becomes effortless for her. It's like, I'm not doing Setu Bandhasana. Setu Bandhasana is just happening on me. And then the pose moves towards a meditative pose. Slowly release. Pavan Muktasana. Uttan Padasana. Sarvangasana. If Shirshasana is called the king of all asanas, Sarvangasana is called the mother of all asanas because it has that motherly touch. It's an amazing pose, advised twice in a day for ladies, of course under guidance. and at least once for the men, because the pose is such that it overall gives you a complete restoration of your energy. And this is a very important aspect where yoga is concerned. So when your practice becomes such, it has to become replenishing for you. The energy has to reach in every cell. So when we combine the asana practice, in the asana practice, the body, the mind and the breath together in an integrated effort, so that's when the air, the breath, the prana shakti, the ojas, the energy reaches each and every cell of the body. And the primary requirement of every cell of our body is a very good supply of oxygenated blood along with the right proportion of hormones and nutrients. Slowly you will proceed for halasana. And now slowly release. Slowly release. Relax. You may come down and simply relax in Shavasana. Shavasana. Shavasana is supposed to be one of the amazing poses, but unfortunately, we have seen people running away from Shavasana. They don't want to do Shavasana simply because they cannot remain there with their eyes closed for too long. So you should be practicing Shavasana. In fact, our Gurujis used to always say that Shavasana is the most difficult pose. And you should be getting often into it and remain connected in it and then move ahead in your path. And as Brother Pinto has mentioned in his book, that the classical yoga given by Maharishi Patanjali is very effective. It has shown us effective ways for a psychosomatic integration. So that is very, very important. And by remaining in Shavasana, you can completely once again restore the lost energy back in your system and conservation of energy. Again, that is very important part where yoga comes in. It conserves your energy. So at the time when you fall sick, this conserved energy comes to use and you recover from any illness very, very quickly. So I would highly recommend you all to read the book that Brother Pinto has written for us. It's wonderful actually. I feel you've done an amazing job. And the concept of yogic liberation. So it's a must read. We highly recommend it and wish you all the very, very best, Brother Pinto. Okay, thank you.
Let's put our hands together for Mrs. Maria, who has helped us to learn the practical aspect of yoga and has taught us some of these poses. Also, just by the way, would like to let everyone know that this meeting is being recorded and will be available sooner or later on YouTube, and the link will be sent to you, so you can refer back to the poses and practice them in your leisure. Here along we have Father Robert Penn with us. Yeah. He is the rector of the Vedan Institute of Philosophy. He is a professor of Indian philosophy and he has completed his doctorate in the field of communication. He has been very resourceful in helping Brother Ian in writing this book because he was the guide of Brother Ian who assisted him in many ways. And it's an honor to have him here with us and speak to us on this occasion. Over to you, Father.
So, good evening, everyone. Am I audible? Christopher, am I audible?
Yes, Father, you are.
Okay, yeah. So, it's my pleasure to introduce this evening Ian Pinto, who is a Salesian of Don Bosco, hailing from the Panjim province from Goa. And as Christopher told us just now, he completed his Masters of Philosophy with a specialization in Philosophy of Communication from Divedan Salesian Institute of Philosophy. And now currently studying theology at JDV Pune and residing at Koregaon Park, Don Bosco Koregaon Park. Now, as a professor in Divedan, I have known Ian when he was a student there. From his close quarters, I observed him. And it was in fact, my privilege to guide him when he did his research on the topic, which he is now presenting as a book. Ian is known for his intelligence and hard work. He is also an avid reader and a good writer who has many articles to his credit. He commits to writing only after a meticulous research on the topic at hand. So far, he has written articles in philosophy, theology, spirituality, culture, motivation, politics, youth issues, various topics for newspapers, magazines, and journals, both national and international. So besides being a blogger, he's also very active on social media. So I want to congratulate him for this, for being so active on social media, and he is able to communicate with so many youngsters. Then two of his anthologies are very famous, poems Pen Down, which he published in 2018, and A Season of Fruits, which he published in 2020. And today we are going to release this masterpiece. I do not know if you have seen this. This is the book that we are going to release. So before I speak about the book, let me speak something more about Yen. Of course, this book is The Concept of Yogic Liberation, Moksha in Patanjali Yoga. It was published by Motilal Banarsilal Publishing House of Delhi in November 21, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Now, before coming to the book, I will speak about the book later on. Let me situate ourselves in the context of yoga. Now, as we all know, yoga is an integral part of Indian culture and religion. And just now you have seen the practical aspect of it. So what began as a sadhana, is a practical, as we saw just now, associated with a religious system and operated as a practical limb of Indian philosophy. Gradually, it was morphed into a philosophical system of its own. Yoga has its own philosophical system today, thanks to the path-breaking work done by Patanjali himself. Now, today, yoga has become a global phenomenon, and its popularity is ever increasing. It may be noted that yoga practices are helpful not only for one's health, but for the general uplift of an individual, as Miss Maria just presented to us and explained to us. So needless to add that we are able to solve many of our mental and other problems with the help of the principles of yoga, provided we do it, practice it in a proper manner, as Miss Maria has just shown to us. It has to be practiced under the supervision of an instructor, and then of course we can practice on our own. Now, these days there is a lot of talk about including some aspects of yoga, not whole thing, but some practical aspects of yoga in our educational institutions. Our central government at times also telecasts some yogic programs and physical exercises for improving the health of viewers. However, that's a practical aspect. However, yoga has a philosophical background, and which is the theme of this book. It presents the philosophy of yoga. So the primary goal of yoga is the liberation of the individual. And since this also happens to be the goal of traditional Indian philosophizing, yoga found itself becoming an integral part of Indian religious practice. Now, Yen Pinto has made a bold attempt here, we can say, to do the exegesis of the concept of moksha in Patanjali Yoga, which has often been debated and interpreted differently by various schools of Indian philosophy. Yoga is certainly relevant in Eastern, especially in our Indian thoughts, as it deals with us, human beings, holistically in our religious and rational aspects. Now, considering yoga's growing popularity among people of all faiths, background, cultures, and walks of life, the study that Ian has done becomes all the more relevant. Let me now speak about the book itself. What does this book, the concept of yogic liberation, moksha in Patanjali Yoga, written by Ian Pinto, what does it contain inside, so that you may enjoy reading later on. Now, this book is divided into 4 chapters. The first chapter offers a history of yoga and touches on key aspects like the origin, aim, scope, sources, and development through the ages right up to the present day. Then we have the second chapter that lays the groundwork upon which the edifice of the yoga system stands. That's the philosophical part. So hence, it deals with the metaphysics, epistemology, theology, anthropology and psychology of yoga. Now, the reflection on these themes provides the background for the soteriological doctrine, which is expounded in the next chapter. Now, the third chapter or the third part of the book, it deals exclusively with the topic of liberation, the soteriology or liberation or moksha. So, it explores the concept of bondage or moksha, and finally, it suggests the Ashtanga Marga, eightfold path, Ashtanga Marga as the path of liberation as given by Maharishi Patanjali. And the last or fourth part deals with the mystical dimension of yoga by exploring the concept of samadhi as a way of being and its byproducts, the vibhutis. Now, what is interesting is Ian Pinto's conclusion. In the conclusion, while offering a critical Christian critique of yoga, Pinto addresses the fundamental question: can a Christian be a yogin? And I'm sure many of us have this question in mind: can a Christian be a yogin? Can we practice yoga, no, as a Christian? No? And this is what has inspired him to do the research in this book. No? So while such questions need much more in-depth study, no, because we need to know both yogic philosophy and Christian philosophy, no, he has boldly proposed to initiate a dialogue between Christian faith and yoga in one's personal life. He has also made a good effort in his conclusion to show both similarities and differences between yoga and Christianity. So that's a very good effort that he has done. Of course, as Christian, we cannot be a yogi because that's a different religious practice. But as Ian Pinto himself has concluded in his work, a Christian adaptation of the meditation techniques of classical yoga could be a welcome offering of Indian Christianity to the rest of the world. So I hope you read this book and try practice, as Miss Maria has shown us, the practical aspect of yoga and how it is helpful for both body, mind, reading this book. So read this book, especially the conclusion. Don't miss out the conclusion, and then practice the yoga in your personal life. All the best, Ian, and to all of you who are attending this function. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you, Father Robert. Now we come to an important part of today's event, the release of the book. And before releasing the book, let me introduce you to the person who will be releasing the book, Father Ian Doulton, who is the rector of Don Bosco Youth Center, Pune, where Brother Ian resides now. He himself is a voracious reader. He is the editor of the Madonna magazine, which is available all over the world. And let's listen to him before he releases the book of Brother Ian.
Thank you, Brother Christopher. I'm grateful for this opportunity to be able to address you all. I am impressed by the work of Ian, and thanks to Father Robert, who very clearly unpacked this book for us, makes it a very attractive presentation. And together with Miss Maria, I think we've done a fantastic job of showcasing the tremendous effort that Brother Ian has put into this book. And I second Father Robert's advice to read the conclusion of this book. I found that the most fascinating part of the book. Philosophy is not my forte, but somehow his language and the way he puts together his ideas to make this very happy blend between yoga and Christianity makes it a very attractive book to read. And something I think that even simple lay people like us in the field of yoga will not just enjoy, but will benefit tremendously. So with tremendous pleasure, I take this opportunity to release the book this evening. Congratulations, Brother Ian. And I hope that
Congratulations, brother.
I think this is volume 1 of a series that should come out. God bless you, and thank you for your contribution to the field of yoga and Christianity. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Father Ian Doulton. Now we move to the man of the moment, Father Ian Pinto himself. Let's listen to him.
Before I speak about my book, there are a number of people that I need to thank for helping me see this project through till the very end. First and foremost, I have to thank my provincial, Father Felix Fernandez, for allowing me to pursue a master's in philosophy. I look on that phase as one of the best things to have ever happened to me. I am grateful to the institute where I studied, Divedan Salesian Institute of Philosophy, Nasik, a place I called home for 5 years. All the fathers and brothers I lived with and who influenced my journey. In a special way, Father Robert, who is present here. I am grateful to him for accepting to guide me in the process of research and writing this book, and for his timely advice and constructive criticism. Also to Father Banzalao Tekshera, the principal of the Institute, for his encouragement and follow-up. To all my friends who proofread the manuscript, and to Father Joachim D'Souza in a special way, who meticulously read my manuscript and offered criticism that helped bring the book into its present form. Lastly, I would like to thank my family members, many of whom are here today, for their continued support and love. In a way, they were the ones who piqued my curiosity in the field of yoga and inspired this research. I am indebted to them. So the burning question is, why the topic of yoga? Well, it's simply because yoga is one of the greatest contributions of India to the world. It is growing in popularity with each passing day. So the burning question is, why the topic of yoga? Well, simply because it is one of the greatest contributions of India to the world. It is growing in popularity with each passing day and is at once highly recommended and pretty controversial, at least in Christian circles. When I had to choose the topic, I knew that I wanted to do something in yoga, but I was finding it hard to zero down on a specific aspect that I could focus on. So after having scanned many resources, many books and articles, to see what had and what had not been done, besides receiving valuable suggestions from Father Robert, ultimately I decided to focus on the liberative aspect of yoga, because I realized from my study that this was the preoccupation of all Indian philosophizing and religion. Liberation is the ultimate goal of Indian philosophy and spirituality. Let me confess that writing this has been a spiritual journey itself, and that is exactly what yoga is all about. We know yoga to be a set of breathing and physical exercises, Pranayama and asanas, as was aptly demonstrated by Mrs. Maria. But it is so much more than that. It is actually a spiritual journey that culminates in the absolute freedom of the individual, which we can call liberation or moksha. As I got down to study yoga, I soon realized that there were many streams and kinds of yoga. I settled for the first recognized form, the yoga of Patanjali. Patanjali is popularized today as a brand name for various kinds of products. But back in his day, somewhere in 4th or 5th BCE, he was the one who wrote the first formal text on yoga called the Yoga Sutras. His method of yoga consisted of 8 steps or limbs called Ashtanga Yoga. They are a guide to the yogin or the yoga practitioner for achieving moksha. They begin with simple ethical rules and practices, bodily exercises and breathing techniques, but then move into deeper forms of meditation that help a person gain ascendancy over the mind and body, thereby achieving a higher state of consciousness. For Patanjali, there are 2 ends in yoga. One in which a person becomes united with God, but this was for him a lower form of moksha. The higher form is a state of freedom where a person is isolated from all experience and is in supreme control over their being. I will not get into the details of these, as you can find them in the book. I will conclude with a comment on Christianity's relation to yoga. As far as I know, Christianity looks on yoga with suspicion. But there are many Christians who practice yoga. We ourselves practiced it in the seminary. The general feeling is that yoga as a form of exercise and physical training is fine. But yoga is not just that. Those are mere aspects of yoga. Yoga is actually a spiritual journey, and a very challenging one at that. It encourages those who practice it to become masters over their mind first and then subsequently over their body. This is a very noble offering, and I feel that many of us should take up yoga spirituality, as there are great benefits to be reaped from it. Yoga can help us deal with our emotions, our desires, and can guide us to making better and healthier choices. And who doesn't want that? I discovered that some of the problems that Christianity has with yoga are due to the metaphysical foundations that yoga is based on. I explore them in the book in detail and will refrain from saying anything further about them here. What I will say is that I have found yoga, at least Patanjali's brand, to be compatible with Christianity. There are other forms of yoga which are contrary to Christian belief and practice. But Patanjali's is open to people of all faiths. That is why even religions like Buddhism and Jainism have adopted it and made it a part of their spiritualities. I end with a word of thanks to all those who were instrumental in the book launch today. I am sincerely grateful for all their help, support, and advice. Thank you once again to all of you for taking the time to be here. God bless us all.
Thank you, Brother Ian, and
Good.
congratulations once again.
Once again, yeah, congratulations.
And before we move to the last part, just for all of you to know, the two books that Father Robert Penn already mentioned about, Pen Downs and A Season of Fruit, both are collection of composed poems which are inspired by his life experiences, and he has launched them already. They are available on Amazon and Flipkart, and in the messages section you will come across the link from where you can make a purchase of this book, and you can copy that link and save it with you so that you can access it and buy the book whenever you want to. And we have with us Sister Teresa Joseph, FMA, and I invite her to give the vote of thanks.
Thanks, Christopher. Good evening to everyone. I begin thanking Christopher Nada for being our MC and for leading us into prayer. Thank you for taking us to this lovely pilgrimage this evening for this launch of the book. Our thanks to Maria and her yoga center. Thanks, Mom, for your sharing, which was colored with your long-standing experience. Thanks for the wonderful, amazing demonstration by your student, which highlighted the beauty, the power, and the effectiveness of yoga in one's daily life. Thanks to you, Professor Father Dr. Robert Penn. The way you presented Ian and his book, we could make out that you really know him well, and you really know well what he has done with his masterpiece. Thanks for being with us this evening. The beauty of our religious life, my dear friends who are present here with us on this virtual online platform, is our community life. We are always, as Salesians and Salesian sisters, accompanied by our superiors. They accompany us, they empower us. We have seen Father Ian Doulton, so graciously he has launched the book, and so powerfully he has spoken few words about Brother Ian. This is our greatest strength as members belonging to this great Salesian family of Don Bosco. Thank you, Father Ian. You have touched Brother Ian and he has grown. Thanks to you. Thanks to you, dear Ian Pinto. Breaking, because I am sure that it will certainly become a source of reverence for many scholars and researchers. We wish you all the best for a deeper exploration of the concept of yoga from a theo-anthropological and pedagogical perspective. This is our wish for you, for your future work of research and exploration. It's my delight to thank Brother Ian's beloved parents and dear ones who are present with us. Bishop Davray, commenting on the book of Brother Ian, said, it's very, very commendable that at this age, you have put your hands to such a wonderful work. Credit goes to you, dear parents and dear ones of Brother Ian. Let's give them a big hand. Please put your hands together. Thanks to Dr. Archana Barua, HOD Philosophy Department of our Don Bosco Gauhati University. I'm very grateful to Dr. Vishwakarma for connecting us quickly with the Philosophy Department and for all their prominence in being with us. I can see our beloved Salesian, Professor Dr. Marty Coutinho, and a number of people who are connected with him. Thanks very much. When we invited Father Matthew, he said, I know Ian well and I will be there. It will be my delight. Thanks very much, Professor Dr. Matthew Coutinho. Thanks to all our friends, professors, heads of institutions, scholars, and well-wishers from India and abroad. On this platform that is really academic and delightful, without the collaboration of joining of hands of each of us, we cannot advance culture. So it's my privilege on the behalf of all of us present here, especially the members of our Salesian family, to express our thanks to each one of you. We need to journey together in synodality to advance culture. Thanks very much. May God bless each of us. Thanks once again.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, sister.
Thank you. Thanks to everyone.
Sister herself has been the past director of the CAT Center that is here at Pune. And right now she is accompanying us, the Salesians here at Don Bosco Youth Center, with a lot of our social work activities that we are carrying on over here. Thank you, sister. Thank you for your lovely words. So with this, we come to an end of today evening's event, and it's just a moment of joy as we have launched this book of Brother Ian, and we hope to see more releases coming soon and more meetings like this happening. Until then, wishing all of you a happy evening and God bless all of you. Bye.